Centrophenoxine helps to boost cognition and memory, and it's got significant anti-aging benefits, preventing and reversing neuronal decay. Centrophenoxine is one of the original nootropics, developed in France in 1959. Centrophenoxine is a combination of DMAE, or dimethylethaneolamine, and PCPA, or para-chlorphenoxyacetic acid. DMAE is an amine that's naturally produced in small amounts in your brain. Researchers speculate that DMAE may increase acetylcholine levels in the brain by inhibiting choline metabolism in peripheral tissues. By preventing the use of choline by other tissues, including the synthesis into acetylcholine, DMAE increases choline levels in the bloodstream. But DMAE on its own doesn't easily cross the blood-brain barrier, so combining DMAE with PCPA seems to help in its bioavailability. PCPA is a synthetic version of auxins, or plant growth hormones. Auxins act like natural growth factors in plants. Once digested, centrophenoxine breaks down into DMAE and PCPA in the liver. This combination was found to make DMAE more bioavailable in the body, and it helps DMAE cross the blood-brain barrier more readily. For neurotransmitters, centrophenoxine seems to temporarily boost acetylcholine in the brain, and this could have an effect on cognitive performance and on memory. As a neuroprotectant, centrophenoxine reduces lipofuscin in the brain. Lipofuscin is a cellular waste product that accumulates in cells as we age. It's the same waste product that causes brown liver spots on the skin. Centrophenoxine eliminates nearly half of the accumulation of brain lipofuscin in just 8 weeks. Centrophenoxine improves cerebral blood flow and oxygen in the brain, increasing its energy. Centrophenoxine is one of the original nootropics and is backed by 50 years of research. Centrophenoxine is sold as a prescription drug called Lucidril in some parts of the world. In other countries, like the USA, it's sold as an over-the-counter supplement. DMAE seems to increase the choline levels by preventing the uptake of choline in peripheral tissues in the body. Since choline is a precursor to acetylcholine, more choline in your brain may raise the acetylcholine levels. The PCPA is a synthesized version of a plant growth hormone, and this combination helps the DMAE cross the blood-brain barrier more easily than just supplementing with DMAE alone. Centrophenoxine may be a good addition to your diet. It can increase your brain energy levels by boosting oxygen flow. It helps to flush out dangerous free radicals and cellular waste, and it can help to improve memory and cognition. DMAE is used to make centrophenoxine. It's found in small amounts in your brain. A good food source is fish. There's little evidence that DMAE as a supplement actually crosses the blood-brain barrier, and if it provides the brain enough choline that's needed to make the acetylcholine. Centrophenoxine, on the other hand, seems to solve the problem crossing the blood-brain barrier, and this combination also seems to be effective as a way to boost acetylcholine. Centrophenoxine helps to improve memory. It does this in part by boosting the enzyme acetylcholinesterase in the brain. This is the enzyme that's needed for breaking down acetylcholine once it's done its job in the postsynaptic neuron. The choline is then liberated to be taken up by the presynaptic neuron, where acetylcholine is once again resynthesized with the help of acetyl-CoA and choline acetyltransferase. Researchers set out to prove this in a clinical trial using rats. In this study, they compared centrophenoxine with DMAE, and they determined that DMAE was about half as potent as centrophenoxine in boosting the choline and acetylcholine levels. Centrophenoxine can help memory by the increased acetylcholine activity. It helps short-term memory, concentration, and learning. Centrophenoxine takes out the cellular trash, lipofuscin, or more commonly known as age pigments. They show up as age spots or liver spots on aging skin, and they hide in cells throughout the body, including your brain, liver, kidneys, heart, adrenals, and your nerve cells. Lipofuscin is the product of oxidation of unsaturated fatty acids. They also contain other cellular heavy metal wastes like mercury and cadmium, and centrophenoxine moves the brain cell waste and the lipofuscin. The buildup of this toxic mess is caused by a breakdown of your normal cellular waste disposal function. Centrophenoxine helps to remove the lipofuscin from brain cells and from cells throughout your body. The beneficial effects of centrophenoxine were observed in several lab studies on older animals. Administration to these animals significantly increased their lifespan, and it boosted learning ability compared to age-matched controls. As we get older, our brain chemistry and our energy metabolism changes. Brain cell membranes degenerate from toxic buildup. Memory, recall, reaction time, and mood diminishes. Acetylcholine levels decline. All of these age-related changes are contributing factors to the neurodegenerative disease of aging, including Alzheimer's disease and dementia. But even if you're not concerned with anti-aging, centrophenoxine can have many benefits. Centrophenoxine is one of the oldest and most studied nootropics that's available today. It was developed in France in 1959, primarily in the search for centrophenoxine to combat age-related cognitive decline. Centrophenoxine is a combination of PCPA and DMAE. Some studies show that DMAE can boost acetylcholine levels in the brain by preventing choline uptake in the peripheral system in the body, thus providing more choline, which could be used to synthesize acetylcholine. But there's very little evidence that it can cross the blood-brain barrier, and this is where the PCPA seems to solve the transport problem. Centrophenoxine is water-soluble, and it quickly enters your brain after you take it. Once in your brain, it boosts signal transmission, and it protects neurons. Centrophenoxine gets to work right away by temporarily boosting acetylcholinesterase in parts of the brain. This enzyme is needed for the synthesis of acetylcholine, and it gets busy clearing cells of free radicals and lipofuscin. Centrophenoxine offers a gentle brain boost when you take it first thing in the morning. You're able to remember things a little easier. Recall when you need it seems effortless. Some users report that centrophenoxine works well when taken with aniracetam, Nupept, and paracetam. It may work in part by providing some extra acetylcholine that the racetams demand when you take them. And if you dose half in the morning and the other half early in the afternoon, you should feel a brain energy boost that lasts throughout the day. A prescription form of DMAE called Dianol was used in the 60s and the 70s to treat learning and behavioral problems in children. This is now known as ADHD. A 3-month, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial involving 74 children was conducted in 1975. They were split into groups and given 40 milligrams of Ritalin or 500 milligrams of Dianol, which is the DMAE. Positive results from this trial showed that DMAE was comparable to Ritalin in effectiveness in controlling the ADHD. Centrophenoxine is not only an effective cognition booster, it helps to reverse the effects of aging in your brain. Much of the brain cell membrane is made of phospholipids, or fats, and they oxidize as we age. In other words, free radicals build up, and they're not removed from the cells efficiently the older we get. Aging brain cells also get clogged up with lipofuscin. Lipofuscin is the product of oxidation of unsaturated fatty acids. They also contain other cellular heavy metal wastes like mercury and aluminium. You see lipofuscin show up as age spots on older skin. The same thing happens inside your brain. Studies have shown that centrophenoxine helps to flush out free radicals and lipofuscin from the brain cells. And when used by younger users, it helps the cellular waste from building up in the first place. Researchers in Hungary conducted a double-blind clinical trial with 50 people who were suffering from dementia. The average age was 77 years. They gave one group 2 grams of centrophenoxine for 8 weeks. They found that centrophenoxine rehydrated intercellular mass, proving that this compound was useful as a powerful free radical scavenger. It removed free radicals from the aging brain, and it restored it to a healthy state. In another study in India, researchers worked with male Winster rats aged 4, 8, 16, and 24 months. They used these ages because they correlate with human aging from young to the elderly. Just like in humans, lipid oxidation and lipofuscin concentration increased with age. The experiment also showed that cellular free radical damage and lipofuscin buildup happened at the same time. This buildup of cellular waste contributes to age-related decline in neuronal electrical activity and neuronal signaling. Cognition, memory, and learning are all affected. The research team found that centrophenoxine had no effect on younger rats' brains, but in the two older age groups they saw a significant decrease in lipid oxidation and lipofuscin concentration, showing conclusively the anti-aging action of centrophenoxine. Centrophenoxine boosts neuronal glucose and oxygen uptake in the brain, and it helps the production of RNA and protein. RNA is derived from DNA in the cell's nucleus, and it enables neurons to form proteins, and this helps to encode memory and to repair damage to brain cells. Centrophenoxine improves memory. In one double-blind clinical trial, researchers worked with 50 people who were suffering from dementia of a medium level. They gave the group 2 grams of centrophenoxine or placebo for 8 weeks. 48% of the group that received the centrophenoxine showed improvements in their memory. Was made of the effects of centrophenoxine on the learning and the memory of old mice. One group of mice was treated for 3 months, and the other group received a placebo. The treated animals showed a significant improvement in memory and learning. Centrophenoxine dose is typically 500 milligrams to 1 gram per day. If you're stacking it with a racetam, split your dose. So take 500 milligrams first thing in the morning and the other half early in the afternoon. Centrophenoxine seems to help to increase choline and acetylcholinesterase in the brain, which is needed for the synthesis of acetylcholine. Keep in mind, centrophenoxine and DMAE are related to choline. They're not the same as choline, though. Centrophenoxine should not replace a regular choline source like alpha-GPC or CDP choline, but centrophenoxine can be stacked with a choline source. Some users take centrophenoxine as a choline source to include in their racetam stack, or to use it as a nootropic on its own. Some research shows that it robs choline from the muscles, though, and sends it to the brain, and this has been implicated in a choline deficiency in pregnant women, leading to birth defects. For this reason, you should be sure that you always take choline with centrophenoxine, and also make sure that you take regular breaks to not deplete your choline levels in your muscles. Centrophenoxine has been used as a nootropic for nearly 50 years, so its safety is well established, it's non-toxic, and it should be well tolerated by most users. Some reported side effects include stomach upset, body odor, drowsiness, confusion, increased blood pressure, moderate depression, and irritability, but these are usually with excessively high doses. If you deal with epilepsy or bipolar disorder, you should avoid taking centrophenoxine entirely. Cycling centrophenoxine with 5 days using it and 2 days of a break should eliminate any acetylcholine possible toxicity, or just use a lower dose, as more is not always better. In some countries, centrophenoxine is prescribed as Lucidril for the treatment of Alzheimer's or age-related cognitive decline. Studies show that centrophenoxine helps to stop or to reverse brain degeneration by clearing out free radicals and lipofuscin from brain cells, making centrophenoxine one of the primary anti-aging nootropics. Centrophenoxine also boosts available choline, and a few studies show that it can at least temporarily increase acetylcholinesterase, the enzyme that's needed for the synthesis of acetylcholine, which would boost cognition, memory, recall, and learning. It's not recommended using centrophenoxine as a primary source of choline in your diet. You've got much better options for acetylcholine precursors available, like using alpha-glycerophosphcholine and CDP choline. A suggested dose of centrophenoxine is 500 mg once to twice per day, possibly more depending if you're stacking it with racetams and other nootropics. Age-related cognitive disorders like Alzheimer's may want doses up to 2000 mg per day.